Hello gamers, this is Sai and welcome back to Which Way Games. Now who's the greatest daredevil of all time?
And with that being said, let's get on with the video. Hey Sai. Oh hey cartoon guy. Everything alright? Yeah, things are pretty good, just playing a game. Ah, Biker Mice from Mars. How is it? It's quite fun actually. Sai, you do know that the Biker Mice from Mars was a cartoon from the 90s. Yes, I know. And seeing as you're the cartoon guy, you want to talk about the Biker Mice from Mars cartoon. Well, I am the cartoon guy. Go on then. Yes! You're such a child.
All the way back in the 80s, there were some classic cartoons such as Transformers, G.I. Joe, as well as The Amazing Mask. All of these followed the simple formula of the good guys versus the bad guys in a never-ending battle filled with plenty of weaponry, memorable characters and over-the-top action.
However, in the 90s, this action was toned down for a more environmental message, with cartoons such as Fern Gully, Toxic Avengers, and of course, Captain Planet.
By your powers combined.
These classic cartoons, although fun to watch, were determined to hammer home the plight of the planet, and viewers were going to learn whether they liked it or not.
You're goddamn right.
However, the 90s was also the era of in-your-face attitude and extreme energy, with cartoons such as Street Sharks, SWAT Cats, and Bill and Ted.
Excellent!
But there's one cartoon that's a firm favourite with the viewers, and it just happens to be Biker Mice from Mars.
Biker Mice from Mars was the creation of Rick Unger, and with his connections as president of Marvel Productions in the early 90s, cartoons such as Iron Man, Fantastic Four and The Incredible Hulk would soon hit the airwaves.
Although they were great cartoons, it was Biker Mice from Mars that was more suited for the extreme energy of the 90s, and the idea of using human-like cannibal characters was the key to success.
Nice.
And so the Biker Mice were born, but to make it stand out from other cartoons at the time, talented writers had to come up with a science fiction setting for a modern era.
On the planet of Mars, there existed a race of motorsport-loving anthropomorphic mice. However, at some point, this race was all but wiped out by the Plutarchians.
These foul-smelling fish-like humanoid aliens would travel from planet to planet, ravishing the natural resources before moving on to the next victim of their greed.
From this, a faction of freedom fighters would be formed, but one by one they would be captured and eventually disappear. Luckily though, 3 survivors, Throttle, Modo and Vinny, managed to escape Mars via a spaceship. However, this victory is short-lived as it soon shot down, causing the trio to crash land on Earth in the city of Chicago.
But waiting on Earth are the Plutarchians, who've already begun to ravish the natural resources of the blue planet.
Throttle, Modo and Vinny soon come into contact with the beautiful Charlene Davidson. They all learn that the evil Plutarchian known as Lawrence Limburger is behind some of the devastation caused in the Windy City. From there, the trio decide to defend the Earth and not see it end up like Mars, a barren wasteland with little signs of life.
Biker Mice from Mars had 65 episodes over 3 seasons, filled with action, one-liners, and slight nods to the heroes in the half shell.
You were expecting turtles, maybe?
In fact, the vocal talent of Rob Paulsen was that connection between the Turtles and the Biker Mice. Paulsen would voice the Biker Mice known as Throttle, as well as the 2 Turtles, Donatello and Raphael.
Some people just can't handle change.
Biker Mice from Mars wasn't just filled with action, it also had comedic moments, such as when the Limburger Tower would be destroyed every episode. This essentially became a running gag in the series.
Each episode would introduce viewers to other characters and villains, as well as the various adventures the Biker Mice would find themselves going through. However, despite being just a cartoon, Biker Mice from Mars also made viewers aware of what ravishing the natural resources would have on the environment.
This message of saving the planet was what the Biker Mice were all about, as well as defeating the bad guys while winking at the camera.
Probably feels right at home.
The Biker Mice each had their own personality that would work well off one another. Throttle was the cool-headed leader with a moral sense of justice. Modo was the hard-hitting powerhouse that would make enemies tremble. And Vinny was the hot-headed daredevil with an eye for the ladies.
Well, maybe I'm just too cool and too handsome and stuff.
The antics of Vinny would always make the other two question how exactly he would survive certain situations, especially those filled with danger.
Although the Biker Mice were a force of justice not to be reckoned with, they would need help along the way with other supporting characters such as Stoker and the beautiful Charlene. Stoker was the original leader of the Martian freedom fighters, and Charlene was the headstrong female lead that could keep up with the antics of the Biker Mice, even making self-proclaimed ladies man Vinny lost for words.
But she was... You are.
I'm just ordinary, huh?
Biker Mice from Mars proved to be a hit with viewers, that it found itself being aired within the Goldilocks time slot of weekday evenings, as well as being part of the Saturday morning cartoon lineup with other fantastic cartoons.
Such was the success of the Biker Mice from Mars, a toy line was introduced alongside a short-lived comic series, as well as a video game for the Super Nintendo. It's a fun game, especially if you're a fan, and there were other games starring the Biker Mice from Mars, but that's for another time. Now that sounds interesting. Anyway, Biker Mice from Mars ended in 1996 and fell into the world of reruns, but it was in 2006 that the series came speeding back with a whole new season.
Taking place a few years after the events of the original series, the Biker Mice have returned to Mars, but are now dealing with a new enemy in the shape of the Catatonians. These cat-like creatures desire the Regenerator, a machine that can turn dirt into anything. And so the Biker Mice have to pull out all the stops to make sure the Regenerator doesn't fall into the hands of evil.
With a short run of 28 episodes, Biker Mice from Mars 2006 was still a hit with viewers, and although it ended abruptly, it did leave the doors open for a new season, possibly in the future.
Overall, Biker Mice from Mars is a great cartoon that is enjoyable to watch, and has gained a cult following all over the world, with some fans signing an online petition asking for the release of every season in its entirety. With the adventures of Throttle, Modo and Vinny entertaining fans old and new, it'll be no surprise to see this cartoon series make a welcome return in the future. Possibly this time around, the trio could deal with a new threat from beyond the edge of space, or even traverse through alternative realities with chance encounters with the turtles as well as the street sharks. Either way, Biker Mice from Mars is a must-have for any collection, and can stand tall among some of the greats of cartoon history.
You know, you really should do a top 10 on your favourite cartoons. You know what, that's quite a good idea. I think it would be good to see what makes your list. Now there are quite a few that I will need to check, but it does sound like a plan. I'll be seeing you, Si. And why is he always in such a rush to leave? I'll never know. Anyway, come back next time where Billy and Jimmy Lee live up to their namesakes as double dragons, but what evil lurks in the shadows. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next game.